Morning, everybody. It's Neil Walters with neilsvideos.com, and here I want to show you my final few, about an hour to the end of the competition. This is my town, and let me start off by saying I basically took a can't say his name, Dubstep Rod's demo that he gave us a few weeks ago, or I mean, about a week ago, and I took his model and I just, basically expanded it to use the NFTs I had, and that's what I did. So I didn't put a lot of creativity into this, I must admit. So check out his video on his he had one for non-NFTs and how he built his town. So basically this was the structure. He had his crops over here. He had, I think, one or two of these items here. I think he only had one of a lot of things where I've tried to double up on all mine. And here's my production rates over here. So right now I'm on my slower machine. Well, it's slower. I'm sorry, it's slower because I'm doing the video. As always, you can actually expand this. Hit the Control Plus, so you can make this a little bigger here. Check the old production monitor. So at times I was up to 50 an hour. Right now I'm at 40. But to be honest, basically I'm in that range between 200 and 600. And it's like if I put more effort in, I might could get in the top 200, and maybe eventually I will. But I can also not put in a lot of effort and not fall below 600. So right now my rank is what? Look, 323. So I'm in that happy middle where I'm just not overly concerned. So basically I built my town on Tuesday, and I think I tweaked it one time on Wednesday, and then I did remove my ice maker here. I had one extra building in the middle here that was making ice. I had 74 million, and I did the calculation that I didn't need it. And I could have just left it there, but I had a slight feeling that just by removing something that might free up resources for other things to do better. So I removed it. I could have removed it actually, I guess even earlier. I probably could have removed it Wednesday or something like that. I think I removed it on Thursday. And so I'll show you what I did and what my challenges were. So one was, I guess, first of all, getting enough limestone. So two of these was not enough. I had to build a third one. I did end up building 3 fabric plants over here on this border. One thing that Dub did not have in his video was the zones. I have all 4 mazes. So basically here, this guy is providing, I think, clay to probably these 4 pottery shops. And I ended up with 7 pottery shops. I know some people only had 6. And then over here, this one is providing 6 nectar to all these critters down here, the beehives. And I think all of us have found juggling the beehives and the honey is one of the, I think, the hardest parts that one of the hardest things I've done in the game. It's like right now you can see I have an abundance of honeycomb, but if I turn one honeycomb off and change it back to honey, then all of a sudden I might end up with 10 honey in there. And so finally I just got it where it was like an okay balance, and I didn't tweak it anymore. This is my windmill zone basically. And I do have the Christmas stand here, which gives 2 sugar to all the surrounding windmills. I think it's giving 1 to this guy over here, maybe 1 to maybe these 3. And then dubstep rods. Originally, he had a road right here, and I needed some more space, so I figured that was 1 road I could close in. And I guess if you're a perfect player, you don't need the buggy, what's called buggy Mr. Puddles. I think I had 1 salt field up here that needed water. And so I think that's the only thing that's doing is delivering water to that 1 salt field. Then I had a lumber shortage, so I built another logger house here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 logger houses here. And I could have done obviously better if I had a river. It'd be nice to have a river over here, but I always kind of panic during the land rush. I just like, oh, give me a spot before they're all gone. And so rather than shopping around trying to find a river, I was actually on within the first minute or 2 of the contest this time. Like I think last contest, I was 3 hours late because of a business meeting. But this time I got on pretty quick, but I still just didn't get a river. And I think from what I understand, when they come out with this new thing called Godot, we're not going to have the land rush at the beginning. And I think that's going to be wonderful. I don't know how it's going to work, if they're going to randomly give you a spot or we're all going to have the same type of biome and same river and stuff. I don't know. But I've always had these four, not always, for a long time now, I've had these 4 water towers. So my idea in general is I don't need a river, but you can still see I had to build a lot of ponds. And if I didn't have all these ponds here, I think I have 5 or 6 ponds. Obviously you need ponds down here for your water pumps, but here, these ponds wouldn't be needed if I had a river. So that could have definitely improved my game. What else can I talk about here? There's my pumpkins. I think I have 5 pumpkins. I ended up with 3 of these guys just because there was space there. And so they're making the magic, I forget the names of these stupid things, magic powder. Each one of these, one's making a glue and one's making the mystic matter, basically. That's making mystic matter. Same thing. So I have 3 of each of those. And I thought about at one point having 3 North Poles. Like I could have actually put another North Pole Creation Lab, I think right here where that ice maker was. And I just basically, I don't think I have enough candy to support it. Like I only have 4 candy stores. I noticed, check out the Gala Games News, Ben's channel. He had, I think, 6 or 7, and he did his final game, and he was, I think, like close to top 100 or better, I think. So he definitely had some improvements beyond what I have here, obviously. And let's see. And I'm sure Dec31 will do another video. He's going to probably be top 100 as well. So let's see. What else did I do? I have my 2 trucks down here. I think I ended up, I think, with 2 strawberries, and that was enough. I don't remember where the other one is. Yeah, there's 1 strawberry. There's a strawberry. I think I have 3 cottons. And then, of course, balancing the sugar in the trees. Knowing the exact number of beekeepers is always kind of a weird thing, too. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beekeepers. I think at one time I might have had 7. But like I said, juggling the honey and the honeycombs, I've always found difficult. I'll scroll over here so you can see this side again. This is the pattern, again, that Dec31 came up with, which I really like. It's kind of different from my normal industrial complex. Like here, you end up having 3 power plants in this pattern instead of having, like what I normally do is power plant, refinery, power plant, refinery. But this one, it's like this is the guy that's making your gas. So he's getting 3 from here, and I guess 2 from here and 2 from here. So he's getting all the energy he needs. Oh, this is one other difference is I did need a lot more energy in batteries. So I put my Haunted East Wing here. So and then both of these could create batteries, and then the energy, I like to call them batteries. And then they deliver them to the pottery shops, which needed energy over here. And then the candy stores needed energy. And I didn't go with nuclear plants at all. That would have been another obvious improvement to the game. I would have had to like create iron. Ooh, that was, I never even noticed that was a yellow timer until just now. Oh, because I'm too close to the dumb pond down here. But I don't think I had a limestone shortage. But anyway, that would be an issue. I would have had to create iron, and I think you need a steel mill temporarily then if you're going to build nuclear power plants. So I could have probably had 2 or 3 nuclear plants in here, and then I wouldn't need the haunted wing and all the batteries and stuff. So that would have been a major improvement. This is the big warehouse, a big storehouse. I have 2 big warehouses, NFTs, 3 shallow mines. And now I will walk you through my screenshots of how I got to here. Okay. Okay, so I chose the desert biome because, again, dubstep rods setup for the industrial complex depended upon the oil seed. So basic starting pattern. And my rush, if you watch my last few videos, is I have 2 NFT candy shops. So I rush candy canes, basically. And to me, I kind of like that. I mean, that's something I haven't seen anybody else really doing. There'd be ways I can think of how to improve that in the future, but we'll talk about that later. So this is my start. Basically, I try to put 3 or 4, 5 windmills as far apart as I can so that they all have green timers. I'll sell sugar maybe 1 or 2 times, and then I'll immediately start making candy canes, basically. You see there, I'm laying out some roads. And a lot of these are going to be temporary roads that might just be totally moved or changed later. So here I've got my setup. This is the Tesla coil. And so it's providing one energy to each of these. And that's the other point. If you do the candy cane rush, you're going to need the energy batteries. So I also needed some windmills, which you'll see in a minute. But this guy will produce one energy every 45 seconds, and the worker house is needed to carry that to the warehouse. Started moving the farmer house, which they always put in a stupid place. It's always right where you need a road, right? So I just deleted it and added it over here so I could have a straight road there. I put my peppermints here because the candy canes need peppermints, and they're not affected by pollution or shade, so they can go by the storage and the depot and that kind of thing. And in the desert, of course, you're going to need tree farms right away, unlike the forest. Here I built some extra construction builder houses so I could build things faster. Sorry, the resolution on that one's horrible. And then I built 3 or 4 windmills out here. Built the road so the construction workers get there faster. And then I built like 3 constructor houses here, because basically each one of them can handle 1 windmill, plus sometimes the Tesla coil. Built a few logger houses and a few more farm houses to get things rolling. Why that one had such bad resolution? This is normal. Here, see, there's my 3 windmills. It's about the same as the last one. Maybe that was a mistake. Okay. Next one. And this is to show you the trick a lot of you probably already know, but when you're building a pond, you need 10 water. So what you can do is move your NFTs. You can hit an NFT, a water tower, and you can return it to the inventory. And then you can lay it down by the pond, and then the pond will immediately have 10 water if you have enough water tanks to do that. So, or water towers. So then the pond gets built pretty quick that way. And then you return them back to inventory, and then you return them back to where you wanted them originally. Then here I decided to go for my big storehouse instead of using the storehouse they gave you at the beginning of the game. I'm starting here to build my water. Oh, actually, these are NFTs too. I bought the 2 water pumps. It speeds up my beginning of my game. So I built the pond and then 2 water pumps here. And you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 windmills at this point. And now here I'm building my oak trees because I want to build another water pump, I think somewhere down here. And I think that's all I was really doing there. Oh, and I built this little temporary woodshed down here. So the problem I've always had with the oak trees, and I'm sure a lot of you have too, is, well, if this is full, they're going to get thrown away, right? And so at this point of the game, you only have that one woodshed. And so I built the woodshed close over here to the oak trees. And then sometimes I would have to flush it to make sure that you have to kind of watch the trees. And if it's too full of wood, you may have to either build something that drains the wood out of it, or just flush it so that you can get some oak trees in there. Okay. Okay, so it looks like I did a lot between the last screenshot and this one. Over here, basically, you see I'm building more trees. And the other bad thing about the way I built this is it's really at the end of the game, my trees are going to be in this area up at the top. So I may have wasted time and some resources building things in the middle and then later moving them to the top. But anyhow, that's the way I did it. And then over here, there's I remembered, oh yeah, I got my sugar stand. So I put my sugar stand there, and I put, for now, 3 windmills around it, which means they're going to get red timers. Ben, in his video, mentioned that 1 green windmill is worth 8 red ones, which is pretty amazing. So that's a statistic to keep in the back of your mind. So this one would have gone red too once I built these buildings around here. The refinery and the other buildings would make it red, I'm pretty sure. I started paving my roads, which obviously to do that, I needed the lumber mill here. I built 2 lumber mills, a lumber yard. Here I'm building another water pump so I can provide water passively to my potteries that are going to go up here. I have 2 silos. Now we have more loggers and more lumberjacks. I've moved my storehouse up here. I don't remember why. Let's see. Oh, there's one little windmill out here by himself. So he would be green. And that's that screen. Now I've rotated a little so you can see down here. So this is that refinery setup, and you can see now I did put my haunted wing here, which gives oil passively to these guys so they can make batteries. In addition, I think this one was making batteries too. But anyway, I had enough energy that way to supply energy. Like right here, at first, these didn't have any passive energy. Well, let's see. Wait, one, two. Well, okay, yeah, maybe they did. They get a little bit of energy from these power plants here. What else? A couple more lumber jacks down there. Okay, so now I'm building, Nessa's now making ice. So I can rebuild anything that the candy canes were relying on. So I was making money from the candy canes, but this making ice makes a ton of money. And so again, this was Dubstep Rod's design. We have 3 of these wizard towers, and they each provide 1 unit of cold, and you need 3 units of cold to make ice. And then once you start making ice, you make tons of money. So you can see all along I've had plenty of money, basically. And you can see here I moved the express depot, or the depot that was up here. I think it's down. Well, it's going to be down here. Maybe in the process of moving it right here in the middle of this screenshot. And then there's the storage tank there. What else? Anyway, let's move to the next screen. Now we got our switching to lumber houses, the lumber house as they call it, the logger house instead of lumber jacks. I built that little paved road there, paving more roads as we go. Added some more trees and water tower, I think there. More crops in here in general. Things are starting to pick up a little bit there. You see I got $3 million now, so I have enough money to do what I need to do. Now here I got 4 million, and now it looks like I'm saying, okay, now I got to start moving my crops north. So I'm kind of moving that direction so this can be what? I was following Dubstep Rod's plan, so I needed this space free to do other things. Okay, so let's see. What else is interesting here? Nothing else. So here I'm basically, roads. These are the gray roads that are being built right around here. So this is going to be the windmill farm, basically. Now all the trees you can see are up here. At this point, see, I'm not relying on my candy canes at all right now because my money is coming from my ice, and therefore the crops really don't matter much. The trees kind of matter because I need to build roads and things, but all the crops I don't need at this point. The candy canes just slow down, it doesn't matter. And at the end, I'll need the candy canes again. And here's my first beekeeper house, and I've added my first beehives down here to make nectar and, honey and honeycomb. There's the pottery house there. I think I eventually moved it. For a while I had 2 of them because, again, I was just having trouble balancing the honey and the honeycomb. There's a potter house going, a beekeeper house there. Okay, next slide. So here are my first windmills now. So they're all going to be red, that they have 2 sugar coming automatically. Looks like I moved my silos around. Yes, they're definitely following Dubstep Rod's plan here if you go watch his video. So appreciate him doing that. Some people, by the way, I won't call it a controversy, but some people were saying he gives too much, which I appreciate him doing what he does. So I'll say thanks, Dub. You're a big help to our whole Townstar community. And I guess the debate is whether people should learn and do their own builds versus just be given a build, right? And, I did a practice game first too, and it was okay. So, but if I see a better build, I'm going to use it, right? Why not? And here, okay, let me show you what I did here. So you can see this is my prior screen, and you're going to see the arrows in a minute where I moved things. So here I was using backing up, I was using my water towers to build these 2 ponds here. And then I'm going to take this warehouse now and move it down south, basically. See, I basically moved that down here. I added my salt fields, added my pumpkins, and starting to build another. I think it's going to be an express. Or this is my express truck. This is just a normal delivery truck here. I've got all my zones in there now, so that doubles your nectar production and your clay production. I think I actually forgot that doubled the clay. I mean, I knew it doubled the nectar, but I think I could have arranged more pottery houses around my this zone here, or the one that's somewhere up here, so that more pottery houses would have had clay. But you'll see in a little while, like, yeah, see, first I put my clay down here because these guys need clay as well. So we'll get to that. So everything needed to produce boom canes is now in place. Next is to double the capacity. A good movement to pave roads. A good moment to pave roads. Okay, so this right here, those are all going to be gray or paved roads right there. So that's what I'm doing. And so now I'm actually making points that will count the stars, or the points that count toward winning. And this was at, look at the time mark up here. So this was Tuesday at 15:23. So 3:30 p.m. I'm making boom canes. Now I'll show you something in a minute. It's kind of interesting. Using the charts of the progress, you can see again how other people play. Some of them took a different approach. They build tons and tons of money, and then they stack up their money, and then they don't build their boom canes until like maybe an hour, 2, 3, 4 hours later, which is a totally interesting way to play as well. So again, if you build up enough money, you can actually kind of like build a whole week without making tons of money, which is kind of interesting too. Okay. So I started paving roads. I totally forgot to turn crafting of candy canes back on after I moved the candy stores. So I moved the candy stores from where they were over here now, where they're getting the electricity from the energy from the refinery or the power plants and such. But I forgot to turn them on. So I really wasn't making any boom canes when I thought I was earlier. Now I'm starting to build a water facility here. Got some farmer tractors, maybe a time or two back, slide or two back over here. Seems like I was having a little bit of a wood lumber shortage maybe at this point. Now I'm fleshing out all my windmills over here. So now you can see tons of windmills to all make sugar. And now I'm starting my second North Pole, and now I'm doubling up everything. So if I back up a screen, sorry, I'm going the wrong direction. Forgive me for that. Okay, so there, like here, I only had one of these things making the mystical powder, right? So as we go progress here, now see, I've got two of those. And so I figured I'd go ahead and start my second North Pole creation lab. Move the tall warehouse here. And now I have 6 of the pottery makers. And it seems like, I turned that one off. It seemed like one of them was red. Can't remember right now. Something I had that was red. I can't remember if it was this game or last game though. It was like one of these refineries was causing, or power plants was causing something to be red in this area, but I can't remember right now what it was. Let's see. That's about that. So now I'm kind of even tripling up. I'm going to have 3 of these guys over here. This is what the Wizard Workshop is doing, making mystical matter from 1 glue, 1 cotton, and 1 limestone. So that's why I need the shallow mines here to make the limestone. You need the fabric plants to make the cotton. And you need the other mystical tower making glue, which is coming from the honey and other things. And now the red arrows show everything I added. So we're getting close to my final build here. You can see I did move my clay up here, and I ended up having 2 clays up there eventually. Oh, there was one of my clays right there. Okay. I had a good reason for moving them over there. And then eventually I took the forklift guy who was over here. I think I had a free space in here. So I got, oh, I wanted the other shallow mine down here eventually. So I had to move my forklift to this area. And he's the one that picks, he's basically a faster construction worker. He picks up the clay. All my crops are there now. I did tweak and tune my crops from time to time until I got them good enough. Eventually, I think I had 3 salts up here. So there was a little bit of tuning going on. All these buildings I built here. So I built another lumber mill here. And I think that's important because these guys need a lot of lumber, all these beehives, right? And so you want the beekeepers to be close to a lumber yard and probably the lumber mills as well, so they can get the lumber. But to me, having some lumber kind of close to the bees kind of makes sense. Okay. I built another water pump here, so I think that was not on Dubstep's original design because I guess I needed more. Oh, I wanted to power this guy here. I could have just powered him with batteries, but I wanted to go ahead and power him passively because I needed the lumber. So I was trying to maximize my lumber production. I ended up with a water facility here, so I moved it from up here to down here. I built a 3rd fabric plant there. I think that's just showing I moved the clay. I think originally I had the clay down here. I moved the clay up there. And now I've got the 7 pottery houses. And I have an arrow on that one. I know I have a Z. He's sleeping, but maybe because 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe he's getting a little pollution from this guy. I have to check that. So next is here I have notes at least. That helps me remember what I did. So Wednesday morning. So all that was Tuesday. So when I went to bed Tuesday night, the prior screen was my game, right? And you can see I had 3 million points. Production monitor, I had a 19 million city cash. And then the next morning I had 72 million city cash. So I really could have got rid of the ice house probably that morning. And I could have probably, I never ended up putting anything else there. I maybe could have added another candy store, but I don't think I had enough sugar to handle it. So Wednesday morning tuning, I was actually making more product earlier in my game. So I'll show you the chart in a minute, how I know that. And there's this kind of this idea that less is more or more is less. I guess it works both ways. Ben actually used that phrase in his video that I watched this morning. But I don't know where that line is. So I'm still learning. Currently, I needed more lumber, and I was just trying to figure out how to get more lumber. So I think I needed, that's why I built one more logger house, and then I tried to balance my trees versus my sugar and all that kind of stuff. And I think I eventually, I don't know if it's this, yeah, okay, I moved these 2. Let me show you one thing. So right now I have one road here, and then I just put the 2 water towers on the side of the road. That way I only used one road, whereas previously, see, having these water towers separated, they each needed their own road. So just by combining them like that, I was able to use only one road and get one more crop in there, basically. I'm getting confused here in my slides. This is where I built my 3rd shallow mine. I moved my pantry here. I can't remember. Oh, I don't remember why, but anyway, I may have had 2 pantries for a while. Well, I ended up moving these guys again. Oh, because they didn't, I think it was, they're not affected by shade. So I think over here I had a tree farm or something. I had 2 trees that were red. And so even the shade was coming from the farm tractor here. So I needed something that wasn't affected by shade. So by moving the clay over there, I was able to have another green or 2 timer on 2 other crops like a tree and or a sugar. Shared one road. I talked about that. Built another limestone. Had to move the forklift. Okay, we talked about all that. Here's the view from the right side of my town, just in case you want to see that. With all these tall buildings now, you can't see behind them, which That's one of the sad things about having a building that's like 3 times taller than all the other buildings. And we're back to the beginning. So anyway, you saw my final video and of the town, and this is it. So again, I wasn't too original. Oh yeah, I want to show you one more thing. Okay, so you can see I was spying on Dubstep Rod here. There's another guy I see a lot in Discord. His name is, I'll show you, I'll refresh all these. Willow somebody. This is the search. So basically here, this is the tool if you need it. It's townstar d3gaming.io. And you can find the event. And then for that event, you can search for players down here. And so now, so here's the 3 I was watching. Willow Martin, TSM, I think is the guild he's in. We have Dubstep Rod, and then we have me. So I'll show you how my game went first from looking at this. So these charts are pretty cool to compare. Like right here, when I had this huge dip, you kind of wonder if other people had the same dip at the same time, because it seemed like maybe at one day everybody was going down, and it made me wonder if they were having a server problem. And also this last line always shows down. I don't know if that's a bug in their tool or it's just maybe it's collecting data and it hasn't got the full hour yet. So you can kind of ignore the dip on the last dot of the graph here. So this shows you points per hour. And of course you want that to be steady over time. The other trick I did this week, by the way, is every night before I went to bed, I would simply back out of the game to the prior page and restart Townstar, because I've heard some people say Chrome and the different browsers will crash in the middle of the night. I have seen them crash in the middle of the night, but I'm thinking that by refreshing the browser or by backing out and restarting the game, that's going to give you another X hours before the next potential crash. So the idea is if you refresh it at least, say, 3 times a day, every 8 hours or something like that, you may have less crashes, and you definitely don't want the crashes in the middle of the night while you're sleeping. I did try different browsers a few weeks ago, and I was getting the highest frames per second using Chrome. So that's why I'm using Chrome. So I don't remember exactly why I had the dip here, but let's check. So that's December 28th, 11 p.m. I think that's UCT time. So see, he did not have a dip there. See, he had a little dip about that time. So it made me wonder like if something was going on in the server there. And the reason they jig-jag back and forth is because you're probably producing, so many boom canes. You're not obviously producing an even number per hour. So some hours you'll have 2 sales, and some hours you're only going to have 1 sale, and that's why it does that. And you see the last dip, like I said, is always low, so you can ignore that. So if we look at him, it's like he started really, really high the first few minutes. So he probably had some NFTs where he sold something. And then you see he plummeted down. Well, he's still higher than like I ever was, right? He plummeted down to 119. And then probably that's when he started creating his boom canes. And then he popped back up. And then you can see he kind of stabilized and went like that. And if we look at Dubsteps here, yep. His curve is, I like his curve because basically, again, he built some stuff. I saw he did, I went to his Twitch or his YouTube live feeds afterwards, not live. Anyway, he did an oak barrel rush because he has the Flat Rider car, which gives you iron, and iron is needed for oak barrels. So he did an oak barrel rush, and then I guess he kind of destroyed everything, and then he built his final build, and then he popped up here to the, like position 95. 100, that area right there. It's like 78 maybe. Anyway, yeah, it's very good. So he rose really fast, and then he leveled off at some point, which is interesting. And if you look at mine, I was kind of the other way around. My rush was really good, and then this is when I was rebuilding my town. I guess I had my dip as well, right? I forgot I had that, and then boom, I jumped up really high, but still not as high as Willow there. So let's see what's my number here. See, he had a slower build. I think he said he took him a while that night, but anyway, he obviously ended up better off in the long run. But he dropped down to 299. But then he started building his canes. See, it took him a few hours to get back up there. Kind of interesting. So here, I dropped huge, but boom, when I made my first boom cane, I was up to position like 150 for whatever for a short time, 160 maybe 70. Anyway, then I just slowly dropped, and then I think this was probably Wednesday morning. I made a few tweaks to my game, and I improved a little while, but then I guess my improvements weren't enough. And then it seems like I have a slow uptick here in the last maybe 6 or 8 hours. So maybe overnight, maybe some people crashed and burned their browsers or something because I had a slight rise. Like I said, I didn't change my game at all, from basically, I think Wednesday morning or at least Wednesday. So the only reason that I would be moving up or down is because other people were improving or worsening their games for whatever reasons. So I find these charts kind of fascinating and really cool how you could compare one person to the other. You can also see here like my points per hour. So at the top, I'm getting 1.2 million points per hour, and then the bad hours, I'm getting 1 million points per hour. And then Dubstep here, he's getting, gosh, twice as much as me, 2.5 million per hour. And then at his low point, 2 million per hour. So obviously, if I'm making 40 to 50 candy canes, or boom canes, he's making 90 to 100 basically. Let's compare him to Mr. Willow here. This screen. Yeah, so he's making like 2 million and maybe 1.75 back and forth. So bottom line, which one of these guys is ahead right now? Oh, I wish it would just show you the rank right away. I wish it just had it does have the rank on the prior screen, but I guess once you come to the graph screens, the only way to find the rank is to come over here and mouse over. So see, Willow's at 86, and he was making less, I think, in general. And then Dub is, Dub outdid him by about 10 spots, and he's making the 2.5 occasionally. So anyway, cool charts there. It's fun. This is kind of how you can peek on other people and get an idea of what they're doing. And you kind of have to go into the Discord. I've learned, I try to go to the Discord maybe once a day and just read it. It still takes like 20, 30 minutes to scroll through all the garbage in there. I mean, people just posting silly pictures and stuff. I don't like that. But you do get people talking about the game and what's coming and a few strategies. And you kind of need to use the Discord if you're still learning the game. You need to ask questions in there and improve your game. And I do that occasionally. And anyway, you learn a lot from that. And of course, from watching videos like this, hopefully. So enjoy your next Town Star competition. I think I heard Rocking Horses is coming next. We'll see. So have a great week, and thanks for watching.